Hey, Edgar here, the host of Snug Wrestling. Are you tired of your flimsy sunglasses that look just like everyone else's? Well, check out our friends from Aquila. These are handcrafted, limited run frames made in Los Angeles using recycled materials and built to last and look clean. They got UV protection, blue light options, and even prescription lenses. Plus, Aquila gives back 1% of every sale that goes to environmental causes. And because you listen to Snug Wrestling, you get 10% off with code SNUG at checkout. Just head to aquila.la and upgrade your eyewear responsibly. That's aquila.la, A-K-I-L-A.la. Save 10% off with promo code SNUG.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Snug Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
What's good with you, Tommy? Long time no talk, man. How you been, bro, since last time we spoke 24 hours ago or less or something like that?
Oh, yeah, it was literally like less than 24 hours ago for NXT. But I'm feeling good. It's still cold as hell right now. Like, it went from, like, a high 50s, like, 2 days ago to now feels like 12. So, Illinois
It's just getting worse and worse, huh?
Oh, yeah. Illinois is deciding to go, hey, we know it's winter now. We're going to give you the cold. So, that is how I'm feeling weather-wise. But the show itself, it was up and down. It was a SmackDown for me. Like, at this point, SmackDown has clearly become the inferior show between the two. It's the show that WWE has decided to go, hey, you want all these big peoples? Watch on Monday. Otherwise, there's not really much here for you. So
Yeah, dude. This was a rough episode of Friday Night SmackDown, if I'm being honest. It could be because the fact that it's 3 hours long, it feels like it drags more. But you know, we were talking about how NXT is all about chaos and, you know, these they try to go for craziness and excitement, and SmackDown feels like the complete opposite. It just feels like it's dragging, you know, but we'll get into it. But speaking of, like, you know, getting worse, all the stuff that came out today about Vince McMahon, did you see that, Tommy?
I did not hear about it until after you posted about it and I accepted the collab for it. Because that's when I was like, wait, we have dash cam footage of all this now?
Yeah, dude, there's dash cam footage that got released today, and the timing of it was kind of weird because I believe it was either yesterday or today where Janelle Grant spoke publicly about the NDA and this lawsuit that she has against Vince McMahon, the WWE, and TKO. And then literally the same day or the day after, Connecticut police, I believe it was in Connecticut, released the dash cam footage from the cops. And I'm just like, damn, that's pretty sus timing. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Mr.
wild.
Blood did, in fact, do a blood drop on it earlier today. You can listen to that anywhere you get your podcast right after you finish this. But still, he did do a blood drop episode literally earlier today about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet. I haven't been able to listen to but yeah, as soon as this thing came out with Janelle Grant, I posted it on our socials. I haven't really had time to like listen to everything and process it. But if you want to hear what Mr. Blood thinks about it, yeah, go check out the blood drop episode. But yeah, man, I'm just like, fuck, they're coming after Vince. Like, all of these news just dropped at the same time, it seems like. You know? Unfortunately, that that stuff seems to be a lot more interesting than the actual show that's going on TV, on SmackDown, for example. But other than that, I guess we should get into it now, right, Tommy?
Yeah, there was one segment that for sure dragged on for me because half of it wasn't even the match itself, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, because first we start off with Cody. Cody does this big long entrance like he usually does. He hits the whoa, and the fans are singing to his song. And Cody says like a few words. So, what do you want to talk about? As he's staring at the WrestleMania sign, Cody Rhodes won the qualifying match last week. He's in the chamber. So I'm thinking, okay, Cody's going to talk about the chamber. He's going to give us something, right? We're going to get hyped up for the chamber. Whenever Cody speaks, I listen. I mean, despite what people have to say about Cody, he's one of the best promos, I think. So I'm always interested to hear what Cody Rhodes is going to say. But he gets interrupted by Jacob Fatu. And okay, I like Jacob, right? So, all right, let's see what happens. Then Jacob grabs the mic and he's like, the only reason you're out here talking about the chamber, Cody, is because of Drew McIntyre. And I was like, wait a minute, Jacob. Cody hasn't said a goddamn word about the chamber yet because you interrupted him, right? But then, Drew McIntyre shows up. He's up there in the suites. He's talking shit about Cody Rhodes. Jacob tries to go after him. Security guards try to stop Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu beats up the security guards. And that was it. That was the opening segment. We didn't get to hear Cody. Drew McIntyre was there, but he didn't do anything either. It was just a whole lot of nothing. Unfortunately, I didn't feel like we got anything out of this. Like, what did we learn from this opening segment? Besides, Jacob Fatu can beat up security guards. We already know that. This was nothing groundbreaking here. What was the point of this segment, Tommy?
I have no clue, but it was big enough for it not to be a surprise because they posted that Cody Rhodes was going to open the show earlier today. So I'm like, okay, we'll actually hear something from him. We've got Chamber literally next weekend. So what's he going to say? And then, as you just said, literally nothing came out of his mouth other than what do you want to talk about? That's it. This entire segment was mainly surrounded by Jacob Fatu and the man that wasn't even supposed to be there in the first place, that being Drew McIntyre. Because the only thing we really got out of this was Nick Aldis going, hey, he's not here. I gave him the night off as much as I don't want to because of the fact that he is our world champion. I gave him the night off. He's not here. Spotlight in the suite. There's Drew McIntyre. So that's really my biggest problem is the fact that they made it this massive thing to the point where they announced that he was opening the show only for nothing to happen with Cody Rhodes. And when it comes to Jacob Fatu, all we learned with that is the fact that you cannot control this. But then again, we already knew this. He was ransacking everybody right when he debuted, not to mention what he's been doing recently between Cody and Drew McIntyre. We've already known that this man cannot be controlled. We've already known that this man cannot be held back. Why in the world are you doing an entire segment on this? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes called Drew McIntyre an asshole. That was about it. What did Cody say? The people aren't booing you because of, what do you say, because you're a champion.
People aren't booing you because you're the champion. People are booing you because you're an asshole, is what he said.
And that was it. And the people popped for that. And then that was the end of the segment. I'm like, okay. I guess a lot of the fans are just happy with seeing Cody. They get to sing his song. And then they get to see Jacob Fatu. And that's it. That's all that we get. All right, fair enough.
I just wish we could have heard more from Cody because that was literally supposed to be this entire thing with the segment to the point where they posted about it right before the show even started.
Yeah. The opening match, Tama Tonga versus Ilya Dragunov. One hell of a match, if I'm being honest. One hell of an opening match. This could have gone either way. These are two really good wrestlers. They're both coming in with momentum into this match. You know, this is the mid-card division, the United States title singing. And I wasn't sure how this thing was going to go, man. I wasn't sure how it was going to play out. I knew it was going to be hard-hitting, and it was. Tama Tonga got the win, but he didn't get the win. It wasn't a clean victory. He was able to win because of the numbers advantage. The MFTs were ringside, causing distraction. This was basically like a 4-on-1 versus Ilya Dragunov. But Tama Tonga did get the win. And Tama Tonga is getting closer and closer to maybe getting a title shot versus Carmelo Hayes, right?
Yeah. And here's what I noticed when it comes to this week and last week. We are supposed to get a rematch between Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov at some point down the line. And here's what I noticed right after this match. Tama Tonga has pinned both competitors that will be in that rematch. He pinned Carmelo Hayes last week, and now he's pinned Ilya Dragunov. So that is massive for him. The fact that he is getting so close to that United States title. And at this point, I would not mind seeing a United States title run coming out of Tama Tonga. It would give him more in-ring time, something that we haven't really seen much of to begin with him, besides back when he was tag team champion.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing with Tama Tonga, man. He's really standing out a lot these past few weeks, a lot more than Solo Sikoa. So it kind of makes me wonder, it kind of goes back to what Mr. Blood has been saying about Solo. Like, why are these guys still following Solo? And, I mean, Tama Tonga has been looking a lot better than Solo lately. Like, so much so that Solo doesn't really feel like the leader anymore at this point. To me, I'm starting to see Tama Tonga more like the leader because he's the one that looks more threatening. He's the one that's been getting more wins. He's the one that's had more matches. I don't know, man. I think we might be seeing cracks there in the MFTs pretty soon. What happens if Tama Tonga wins the U.S. Championship? What does that mean for Solo Sikoa?
I'm actually starting to wonder what's going to happen next week, because if Howdy is telling the truth, he said he will be coming into that ring alone. None of the Wyatt Six behind him. No Eric Rowan. None of them whatsoever. But he called out Solo Sikoa, and he did accept it. They will be meeting in the ring next week. So with that, Howdy brought up a good question, which is the fact that will Solo still have the family at that point is basically the short end of it. So could we see not just cracks, but almost an entire breakage away from Solo next week during that?
Yeah, you're right, man. We'll see what happens next week. All right, we heard from Jade Cargill, the women's champion. She cut a promo. She just went in there, talked her shit, didn't get interrupted, just cut a promo and left. And she was addressing all you haters out there. I'm talking to you, Tommy, and Blood, and all the Jade haters that complain about her not defending her championship. And she said, you know what? I defend it on my time, when I want to, when I feel like it. And then she mentioned some of the names that are going to be in the chamber. And it kind of like, once you hear Jade Cargill say these names and you hear the fans' reaction, you kind of get a better idea of who the people want to see Jade face at WrestleMania. And she kind of went down the list that they had so far, which was, I believe it was Nia Jax. Who were the other women that are in the chamber right now, Tommy, that Jade mentioned?
Nia's in there. Kiana James is now in there because I'm pretty sure we skipped that. I'm not sure.
We haven't gotten
Was
there
it
yet.
After this segment? Was it like directly after, I'm pretty sure then?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get to that match, but Kiana James is in there as well. Alexa
Point is
in there. There's some big names in.
Point is, Jade went down the list that they had at the time of this segment, and the very, very last name that people popped the most for was Rhea Ripley. And it just kind of got me thinking, if Rhea Ripley were to win the chamber, we could get Rhea versus Jade Cargill. I don't know about you, Tommy, but I wouldn't be too mad about that.
I wouldn't either. Like, I seriously would not mind Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. But when it comes to Jade Cargill bringing up her shit, here's what I'm going to say. Sure, You can defend your title whenever you want. That is fine. We shouldn't have to wait almost 4 goddamn months into your fucking title reign just to get your first title defense. One title defense took 107 days to get. That should not be happening. It got to the point where the first thing that popped into my head is a rule that used to be a thing back when Vince was head of this, which is if you don't defend it after 30, you risk it being relinquished and being taken off of you.
I don't know, man. Jade is the champ. She can do whatever she wants, bro. Just ask Roman Reigns that. Ask Drew McIntyre that, bro. Drew McIntyre does what the fuck he wants on SmackDown, bro. Why not Jade?
Yeah, but Drew still defended it less than 4 months after he got it. So did Roman. Like, yes, Roman still had a couple months in between and all of that, but it still wasn't 4 goddamn months in between. Not to mention, still, that is her first title defense. I don't want to wait another 100 days for a second.
Well, when you're as good of a wrestler as Jade Cargill, you can do and defend it.
No.
Whenever you
No. Are you kidding me? The bout she had with Tiffany Stratton and almost everybody else until your words, pretty much, that one of her best matches so far has been her last one. Her first title defense has been one of her best matches she's had since she's been in WWE. She is not as good as she thinks.
Yeah, well, Jade Cargill is definitely top 5 wrestlers of all time, bro.
No, the hell she's not. I can name.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Speaking of Jade, we had a qualifying match with Charlotte Flair, Kiana James, and Nia Jax was in this match, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I hope they give it to Kiana James, man, because man, does she need it, right? But I was like, that's a long shot, right? Because you got Nia in there, you got Charlotte Flair, who Charlotte Flair wins everything all the fucking time, right? So I was like, there's no fucking chance, right? But they did, man. Kiana won this match, dude. Kiana got the biggest victory of her career so far. I don't think anyone expected Kiana James to win this one. But she looked good, man. I mean, she had a few spots there that really highlighted her strength. You know, she had that big Samoan drop spot with Nia Jax, just power lifted her over her shoulders like nothing. And the people popped for that. And we even got Kiana James chants from the crowd there for a second. Yeah, dude, I was really happy with this outcome, bro, if I'm being honest, man, because everyone underestimates Kiana James, bro, but I've been telling you guys, man, don't sleep on Kiana James, bro. But what did you think, Tommy?
This match was great. It was absolutely one of the best of the night for sure. But I found something, and no one had anybody ringside them. Like, Julia was not there. I don't think Lash Legend was there either. And neither was Alexa Bliss. No one out of the 3 of them had anyone ringside. And that in itself, I find very, very interesting because of the fact that usually when they come out, they have them with them. But within this round here, no one had anyone out there. So I found that extremely interesting when I watched it. But Kiana James, I was not expecting that. I honestly thought that since Alexa was in there, I seriously thought that Charlotte was going in. Since Rhea's in there, I'm pretty sure Io's in there as well. So I thought they were going to put Charlotte in there too. But no, they did not put Charlotte Flair in there. So I was a little bit shocked on it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, and the fact that none of their partners were out there it is pretty weird because this is a triple threat match, which means no disqualifications, right? So you would think this is when, because most of their partners get, you know, involved every single time, but the one time where they can, they don't. But I mean, that's good. I'm not saying that's like a bad thing. I'm not trying to complain because we do see that a lot. We saw a lot of interferences tonight. So I guess for this match, they're like, we don't really need it for this match. Let's give Kiana James a clean win, you know?
Yeah, but I was just shocked because it's two heels against the single baby face. So that's usually what Lash Legend and Julia are there for, is they just point the distractions wherever the hell they can. So I was completely shocked that none of them were out there. That's not a bad thing, but I was just shocked about it.
Yeah. All right, Tommy, the next one. Oh my God, the next one. I want to hear what you got to say about this, Tommy, because it was Oba Femi versus Kit Wilson, right? I mean, we kind of knew how this is gonna go. Oba Femi is gonna squash Kit Wilson, right? Obviously, but it was a little bit more than just that. It was a little bit more than a squash match because Kit Wilson, before the match rang, decided to read Oba Femi a poem. Yes, you heard that right. A wrestler, Kit Wilson, one of these guys, the heel, was reading a poem to the other guy. Like this is a fucking bedtime story or something. I'm like, bro, like, I love Kit Wilson, right? He's funny. He's got a funny gimmick. The people like his song. He's entertaining. But I'm like, this is not what I want to see Oba Femi be involved in this goofy comedy stuff. And I was like, bro, like, I was expecting Oba Femi to, like, maybe 2 or 3 words into this poem, Oba Femi was going to snatch the poem from Kit Wilson's hand and rip it apart, or just grab him and start beating him up, something, you know. But no, Oba Femi entertains this, and Oba Femi's like selling it, and he's like listening to it, and he's like, oh, read another one. And I'm like, no, please, let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing over with. But no, he reads another poem. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is supposed to be wrestling, not fucking read along time with Kit Wilson. You know, like, oh my God, bro. I hated this. This is not how I want to see Oba Femi being presented. And I hate to say that because I really like both of these guys, but this just was not it for me, bro.
I didn't like it either. I don't blame you. In fact, this right here was the match that I brought up earlier on in the show. But when I was watching it and all of that, my immediate thought process was this. Welcome to Squash Poetry, featuring Kit Wilson, starring Oba Femi. That is what popped into my head, because that's exactly what this was, because there was no possible way at all that Kit Wilson was going to beat Oba Femi. It just wasn't going to happen whatsoever. But this had to be a squash. It really did, and it fit its purpose. We'll see what happens next week with The Miz, because it feels like at this point, Oba Femi is just being fed people left and right. So, hey, Miz, good luck teaching Oba Femi the ropes, as you said it, because you're probably going to get squashed too there, bud.
So is it safe to say that Oba Femi's most likely going to sign to SmackDown if he had a match this week on SmackDown, and then next week he's scheduled to have another match versus The Miz, which, by the way, hopefully we at least get more than a squash match from The Miz versus Oba Femi next week.
Yeah, I think at this point it's safe to say it, because he hasn't really shown up on Raw at all. And I know Blood is over here saying that he's Raw coded and everything else. But even from the moment we saw those video packages, the first thing that I said was that SmackDown needs bigger names. And there was pretty much no bigger name in NXT than Oba Femi. So it just had to be.
All right, we'll see what happens with Oba. Up next, we had a singles match. 1-on-1, Tiffany Stratton versus Alba Fire. Chelsea Green was ringside in her wheelchair cheering on her girl. Yeah, again, Tiffany Stratton just came back. And Alba Fire is a great worker. She's a job girl. I hate to say it, but let's call it what it is. She's there to make people look good, kind of like Chelsea Green is, right? And she did her job, puts Tiffany Stratton over because I believe Tiffany Stratton is in the Elimination Chamber, right? So she's got to look good before the Chamber.
Yeah, she
Tiffany
was the
Stratton,
first to qualify.
yeah. So Tiffany Stratton hit her moonsault on Alba Fire 1, 2, 3, but again, nothing really groundbreaking or super exciting about this match at all. I didn't.
Yeah, I am truly with you on that because of the fact that it's Stratton, as you said. She's literally in the chamber next Saturday. She was the first woman to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. So obviously, she has to look massive in there, especially with the stars that she's got in there and going against. That being Rhea Ripley's in there. We will know all 6 of the combatants on Monday. So for our prediction episode, we will actually have the entire list of names for the Elimination Chamber, which makes shit so much easier for us.
For the men's
if we had to wait until next Friday just to get all 6, God, no. But that makes shit so much easier on us. Keep looking forward to that. But with this was just a match to show off Tiffany Stratton and get her even more hyped for the Elimination Chamber.
So all 6 contenders of the Elimination Chamber will be announced by Monday for both men and the women's chamber.
Yes, the final matches will be on Monday.
Perfect.
Because we've only got Tommy, 1 person left for each of the chamber.
Fair enough. All right, Tommy, out of all of the backstage segments that we had tonight on this episode of SmackDown, there is one in particular that I would like to go over with you. That was the Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn heated exchange backstage. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw it.
And this goes back to their triple threat match from last week, right? The way that Cody won this, there was a lot of shenanigans in that triple threat match last week when Cody qualified. And Sami Zayn confronted Cody about this and was like, basically, you took the cheap way out. You took the easy way out. Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn feels like he did the right thing. Drew McIntyre was attacking Cody. Sami tried to help Cody. But instead of Cody helping Sami back, Cody took advantage and pinned and got the win to qualify for the chamber. So Sami's butthurt about that. He got kind of hot and he kind of fired up at Cody. And the people were cheering Sami because the people have been asking for Sami to turn heel. They want to see this new attitude from Sami, and he showed it a little bit tonight. But shortly after that, Sami Zayn had a change of heart. And he apologized to Cody. Sorry, Cody. I've been going through a lot lately. I apologize for getting upset at you. And the people started booing Sami. Boo. Because they want to see Sami get pissed. They want to see Sami fire up and turn heel. But he teased it. Sami teased it a little bit here, but not quite fully. But what did you see from this segment, Tommy?
What I saw was a possible chamber thing. Because plain and simple, we have seen it within the last couple of years that people have interfered in the elimination. Case in point, Jade Cargill's return last year was via the Elimination Chamber. It was her coming in and screwing over Naomi right at the start of the match. Like right as the bell rang, all of a sudden a storm is coming. Logan Paul also did it with the men's Elimination Chamber. So you want to talk about getting pissed and all of that? There could be a shot there. He could possibly do something at the beginning of the Elimination Chamber match or during it, like Logan Paul did. Because at one point Logan got eliminated. Yes, he was in the match, but he still interfered in it because he was eliminated at that point. He then came in and then did his whole one lucky punch shtick. So this would not be the first time someone interfered during the Elimination Chamber. So I would not be surprised if that might be what this is leading to into next weekend.
That's one hell of a prediction, Tommy. You better save that one for next week when we do our actual predictions for real, you know? All right. Let's move on to the second qualifying triple threat match for the men's this time. Two former really good friends, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, United States champion, were in this match with Damian Priest, of all people, right? And I say of all people because I like all three of these guys, man. I feel like all three of these guys really needed this win. And I wasn't sure how this was going to play out. I mean, if Carmelo wins it, that'd be cool. That'd be a great push for him because he's the United States champion and he's been, having all these matches on SmackDown. But also Trick Williams, he's hot, man. The people love him. And it's also Damian Priest, the guy who went from being world heavyweight champion to, feuding with Aleister Black and then not really having much of anything lately, compared to, a Damian Priest from a couple years ago. So it's like, oh man, how is this thing going to go, But it was Trick Williams. Trick Williams got the win. The people seem to be really happy about that. And I'm not mad at this, man. Trick Williams being in the chamber, I think is going to be dope. But how did you feel about this one, Tommy?
I will say that between the three of these men, Trick Williams was not my first at all. In fact, he would have been my last out of the three of them. I would have much rather have seen Damian Priest in the chamber. But overall, I'm not mad that Trick Williams, because go ahead and put him in. But this match was basically just two NXT guys against Damian Priest. And at one point, they did team up on Damian Priest as a little thought of, hey, we got to take this man out. Bring me to that top rope and I'll just swing around. So that spot, I'm like, okay. So these two are basically on the same page of take out Damian Priest. Well, they did sort of do that. Remind me, was it Carmelo Hayes that got pinned?
That's a good question. I don't know. No, it was Damian Priest.
Okay, because if it was Carmelo, this would have been the second man within the last 2 weeks to pin the United States champion. But
yeah, it was Damian Priest. Trick Williams hit Damian Priest with his big knee.
Oh yeah, with two of the trick shots and then pinned Damian. Okay. Mm-hmm. So again, this is going to end up being massive for him because of the fact that he didn't just pin anybody. He pinned a former world heavyweight champion in Damian Priest. Yes, he got that world heavyweight title from cashing in at WrestleMania, but the point here still stands. He just pinned a former world heavyweight champion in Damian Priest. So this is going to be one massive thing for him. This is going to push him even more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what do we have next? Oh, yeah. Rhea Ripley versus Julia, the women's United States champion, right? Was this a title shot? Was this a title match?
No.
It was just a regular one-on-one. But how about that? Seeing Rhea Ripley facing the women's United States champion, that's an interesting thought, isn't it?
It is a very interesting thought. And before the match, I had completely forgotten this was happening. And then even after it, I completely forgot this happened until you just now brought it up.
Yeah, man, because again, this match, I mean, this has to do also with the women's tag team division, right? I believe Nia and Lash Legend are up next to face Io and Rhea next week. And Kiana James and Julia have had a few like face-offs with Rhea and Io, but I mean, this match didn't really feel like Rhea and Julia to me, like it was a feud or like, they have any personal issue. It kind of just felt like a match to me, just a random match for no reason, right? It's not for the title. They're not really in a personal feud. It's just like, let's just have Rhea on the card just so the people can see her. And then Julia, because she's a United States champion. I don't know. It just felt random to me. So I didn't really care too much about the match. But it ended in a no contest because Nia and Lash Legend interfered in the match and took out both Rhea and Julia, which kind of makes sense because I'm like, I don't think you can beat Rhea right now. She's the one half of the women's tag team champions. And also, you can't beat Julia. She's the current women's United States champion. So, in that sense, both champions were protected here. They have a big run in where Io Sky comes out for the save. And this whole thing was just to hype up the match, the women's tag team championship match for next week.
Yeah, but once again, I was a little bit shocked because usually wherever Rhea goes, Io follows. And wherever Julia goes, Kiana James is right behind. But with this match, once again, neither of them were there whatsoever. So I found that real interesting with it. But the only thing that this match really accomplished, especially with that DQ finish, is the fact that all this is really doing is creating more hype for the tag team title match that's next week. They finally have a name, and it's what they've been called this entire time: the Irresistible Forces against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky.
All right, Tommy. The main event for this episode of Friday Night SmackDown was Randy Orton versus Aleister Black. Randy Orton, huge star. Aleister Black, he's been kind of lingering kind of in the mid-card scene. He just came off that big feud with Damian Priest. So it was cool to see Aleister Black in the main event of SmackDown, right? Versus a big star like Randy Orton. But again, I mean, this seems like this is the beginning of a feud possibly between Randy and Aleister Black because, again, they've had a couple face-offs. From what I remember, they kind of just set this match up earlier in the night in a backstage segment. Aleister Black went up to Randy. He said some weird, spooky shit to him in a very Aleister Black way, And then Randy's like, all right, I'll just see you in the ring. Put on your gear and meet me in the ring. And that's how they set up the main event. That was it. Am I missing anything else here?
No, not really, except for the fact that Zelina talked to him for a little bit and had to eye the sky because Randy is so much taller than her. But when it comes to this match, it didn't need to be the main event. In fact, I was shocked when the entrances for that men's Elimination Chamber qualifier were going on, because my immediate thought process was, wait, why is this not the main event here? It made no sense. I would have much rather have seen that triple threat in the main event than this match being in the main event. But then again, it's probably here just because Randy Orton, and that's about it. But this is clearly leading to something. Hopefully it's not another 6 month long, because that sucker with Damian Priest dragged out and got boring and stale pretty damn quickly.
Yeah. If this does turn into a feud, then I have high hopes for it because it's Randy. Randy Orton, he's had some amazing feuds over the years, right? I mean, and I would like to see Randy in a very intense personal feud with Aleister Black. I think it could be good. And it's starting to come back to me that last week they had a face-off on SmackDown, Aleister Black and Randy Orton with Zelina Vega. They did the same thing this week, and then they set up the match. But, again, man, it just felt cold. It just felt like whatever, I don't mind that it's in the main event because it's Randy Orton. If someone is going to be the main event in SmackDown, it makes sense that it's Randy, right? And then, you use that opportunity to put Aleister Black in there. Perfect. All right. Awesome. Amazing. And then the match starts. It's a nice little regular TV match. Nothing bad about it, but nothing overly exciting about it either. It's just a match. And then Drew McIntyre, who was supposed to be kicked out of the arena, shows up and hits Randy Orton with the belt behind the referee's back. Aleister Black takes advantage. He hits his Black Mass finish on Randy. 1, 2, 3. Aleister Black beats Randy Orton, and I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty fucking crazy. Aleister Black just pinned Randy Orton, of all people, in the main event of SmackDown. Now, I don't know all the numbers exactly, but Randy Orton does not get pinned a whole lot in one-on-one matches. So the fact that Aleister Black got a win over Randy is a pretty big fucking deal. But the only thing I'm like, I don't understand, why did Drew McIntyre attack Randy Orton? I understand Drew McIntyre attacking Cody and Jacob Fatu, but Randy? Was this because Randy's going to be in the Elimination Chamber, or why did Drew McIntyre do this? I don't get it.
I think that's why, because I think that out of everybody that's in there, Randy Orton might be the biggest threat to Drew McIntyre, especially with the fact that he's looking for that number 15. Like, he's looking for that next world title to get him out of the tie with Triple H that he's currently. So that's what he's looking for. And I think that's exactly why Drew McIntyre attacked him, is because out of the 5 of them that we currently know is in there, Randy has the most experience with a world title, and he absolutely is the biggest threat to Drew McIntyre.
All right, fair enough. Well, that was Friday Night SmackDown, at least the most important parts in the matches. And, you know, leading up to this Elimination Chamber, that was a review with the Snug Wrestling Crew. Tommy, is there anything else that we forgot worth mentioning when it comes to this episode of Friday Night SmackDown before we get out of here?
Not really. I mean, there was another segment with the box, but we literally didn't really get much out of that. It was, instead of El Grande Americano, which is who it was for Raw, all of a sudden, for Nick Aldis, his problem is R-Truth. And that's pretty much the entire deal with that segment.
Oh, right. Nah, that was just whatever. We didn't get no extra clues, no nothing else about the box. We don't know anything about it. I mean, it's kind of hard to guess. I mean, there's so many different predictions about it going around online. Like, it could be anything or anyone, you know. I've heard everything from Chris Jericho to Bad Bunny to everyone and their mamas. So we'll see what happens with that. But until next time, you guys, that was SmackDown once again. Be sure to follow us on social media. Check us out on Apple Podcasts. Leave star ratings, leave a review, and let's get up out of here, Tommy.
All right, you can catch us here every Monday and Friday for Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Mark your calendars for next Wednesday, because that is when we will be doing the Elimination Chamber predictions. And you can also catch our review of the Elimination Chamber on the 28th, right after that sucker closes as well. You can catch me and Snug every Wednesday as well for the review of NXT. There's also that one-on-one with Mr. Blood every Thursday on TikTok Live. Most of all, the most important part, go get your merch. It's in the bio of every single one of our episodes. It is in the bio as well on all 4 of our accounts, both mine, Snug's, Toxic's, and Mr. Blood's. So, boys, that was one time for the one time. Mr. Blood, feel better, my boy. That was 4 letters, 1 word.